Well, it's too stinking hot out to work outdoors, so I thought I'd do a video that I promised I would do um, regarding the kiln and the statistics that I keep on every run that we do. So this is a spreadsheet. It's printed out, but it's in electronic format. I figured it'd be too difficult to read off of a screen, so I printed it out. I designed this as just a simple spreadsheet with lots of formulas and calculations, all based on time and energy used by the kilowatt hour, and all the statistics like percentage changes of the kiln in regards to temperature and moisture control. So here at the start, the first entry is the time that we load the kiln, so it's ready to go. And this entry here is 4 days, 3 hours, 27 minutes, converted to a decimal. And the reading is the reading off of the meter on the house, because my shop and the kiln, everything runs off 1 meter. Which might change in the near future if we add any more plugs onto the shop or any more electrical demand. We're going to have to get a separate service. But anyway, so this is the reading at the start. So kilowatt hour usage is the difference from this number and the last time that I read the meter, which was at the end of the last kiln cycle. So the energy used was the energy we used just for the house. So for the 4 days and 3 hours, we used 154 kilowatt hours. And when you do the math over 99 and 0.45 hours, the house average is 1.55. So that's how much the house consumes per hour during this time of the year. So that's our starting point, so that all our later numbers, we factor that out, and the difference is what the demand from the kiln is. All right, so initial readings for the dry bulb and the wet bulb and the kiln. And then there's the 4 probes and the probe average. And there's columns in here, changes per hour, and that's not relevant at this point because we're just getting started. The kiln indoor relative humidity is a number that I have an Inkbird meter, digital meter that records that. It's a separate reading. So then there's the temperature I record outdoors and if there's any kind of wind chill. And this whole section here relates to the new commercial dehumidifier that we purchased. You recall the compressor on the Nile kiln went kaput and really expensive to fix, so we opted to try a commercial unit. And so this is the initial test of this unit to see how well it performs. So there's all kinds of information regarding the commercial unit's reading. It has a dehumidifier reading. It records and monitors the humidity level inside the space, inside the kiln. And there's a container depth, the diameter, and volume. These are all calculations based on a 5-gallon bucket that I'm using. Because for this time around, for this kiln run, I'm recording how much water comes out of it, because I'm just curious to see how well this commercial unit performs. So all that will be filled in, as you can see down here, through the subsequent readings that we do over the next couple of days of this run. So then at the end, there's just some notes saying the start, the dry bulb set point, I put it at 95. I turn on the exhaust fan to on, in case if it gets too hot, the exhaust fan will expel air, keeping it at 95 Fahrenheit. The heat was off because I forgot to turn it on. And with the Nile compressor dead, we bought a commercial dehumidifier, an Abastorm SN35P. It's a small countertop unit. I did a test run in the workshop yesterday and ran it for 12 hours, and it extracted 3/4 of a bucket of water. So we placed it in the kiln for this run to see how well it does. It should be noted that the manual says not to operate this kiln in a corrosive environment, which kilns can be. Our kiln doesn't seem to be that corrosive for some reason. But anyway, the S&P 35 relative humidity is set at 30% and the current reading is 75. All right, so that's the starting point for this test run of the commercial unit, the dehumidifier. So my first reading was in the evening. I kind of do all my readings at between 8 and 9 in the morning and 8 and 9 at night. So 5 hours, 48 minutes had elapsed. That converted to a decimal. That gives you the total hours. I do a reading at the meter. The difference between this one and this one is 25 kilowatt hours. It's the rate we pay for electricity here. Again, the consumption from the house, it's hourly rate. So the house kilowatt usage period is 9 kilowatt hours. The kiln's kilowatt usage for the period is 16. Kiln energy performance basically is just the number that I use to monitor the performance on an hourly basis, is 2.8 kilowatt hours per hour. So the kiln's total consumption so far for this run is 16 kilowatt hours. Put the dollars with this, with the 17.5 cents, tells you how much the kiln is running, it's costing for the period, and then there's a total. Because tomorrow, we had tomorrow's run, and the next day, and it shows it's an ongoing total. Anyway, back here, kiln cost for the period, 48 cents, based on an hourly rate. And then the average kiln cost per hour, 48 cents. And that's because it's just the initial. Dry bulb gone up a little bit, so the period degree change in the dry bulb is 2.7. Degree change per hour is 0.5. And the only reason I really keep these is to see if there's anything abnormal that occur. Like sometimes, during a kiln run, during the winter especially, there can be a cold snap. And, it could be just above zero one day, and then all of a sudden the next 3 days it could be minus 15 or so. So I'm just kind of curious at how the kiln will perform during, things like that occur. So that's what this information's for. So, so probe 1 hasn't changed. Probe 2 went down a little bit, and 3 went down a little bit, and 4 went down a little bit. So probe average. These here are just the changes per hour. So it shows there's a drop based on an average hourly. So the Inkbird says it's 71.9, and that's predictable. Every time when we do a kiln run, at the very beginning when we start, it's a number, and then once it gets rolling for about 12 hours or so, you'll find that the humidity has gone up because it's kind of evened out. The fans have evened out the distribution of moisture in the air, and it always goes up. So temperature recording for that April 15th in the evening was about 18 Celsius. So we get into the performance of this commercial unit. And so the humidifier reading on the side of the unit says it's 83. The container depth, these are static numbers because that's the size of the container. And the container water volume output depth in inches. So there was 4 inches of water in the bucket, in the 5-gallon bucket. And so then it just breaks down cubic inches that were removed. So there's 4 inches equals this in cubic inches. Converts that to pints removed for this recording period. And then pints per hour removed. And total pints removed. And then it also converts it to gallons and pounds of water and liters of water. And then it shows the electrical consumption. And then notes said it rained this afternoon. I noticed the heat switch was not on, so I turned that on. And the commercial unit humidity reading was 83. So in the 5.3 hours of operating, it removed a third of a 5-gallon bucket. So now we're just cruising along into the next day, So the 15th was 9 in the evening. On the 16th, I did 1 in the morning and then another 1 in the evening. So this is almost like a 24-hour period now on August 16th in the evening. So we're looking at, the period of hours. Total hours now, runtime for the kiln is 28 hours. And we're looking at kiln total cost is $13. Dry bulb is at 96 now. Wet bulb's at 91. And the probes haven't changed a whole lot. The kiln humidity inside is 72, so that's gone up actually. So it's really moist and damp in there. We're at 24 hours in, and what did we say the temperature was? About 96, so it's comfortably warm. All right, so we get into this commercial unit again, dehumidifier, showing it's 82, even though the Inkbird says it's 72. Hard to know which is right. I've always gone by the Inkbird, but this could be more correct, or maybe it's just an average of the two. It doesn't really matter. We just know that it's moist, damp air inside, and we're looking to get it taken out. So we're 28 hours in now to the run, and pints removed. Total pints removed 74.8. That's equivalent to 9 gallons of water. In liters, that's 35 liters. And the total consumption for the kiln is at $10.83 kilowatt hours. And at the end of this day, it said it was a warm day. Relative humidity on the commercial unit's 82%. In about 12.5 hours operating, the units removed 4 gallons of water. So, August 17th, we can skip the morning and go into the evening again. And what you're going to find is that it's pretty consistent. So, we're just starting to see some drops now in the probe and the humidity. And that commercial unit, after another 24 hours, went from 82% humidity to 75, and we're at total pints removed 152, total gallons 19, total liters 72, and much the same. So total water removed 156 pounds or 68 liters. And just a note of curiosity, that's about 25% of the standard bathtub. So a quarter of a bathtub in 48 hours. So, it's all the same. You run down to August 23rd, and we're at the end of the cycle now. Total hours, 197 hours. And here we go, 197 hours. And the kiln energy per hour is 1.7. That's what it averaged out to for the 197 hours. So the total kilowatt hours used was 386.9. When you factor in the price we pay per kilowatt hour, so this kiln run cost $67.88. Dry bulb is still running at about 96.8, which has been consistent for the whole time. And the wet bulb down at 81. And the probes are at 25, 20, 18, and 16, with an average of 19.8. 25, 20, 18, and 16. average 19.8. So the Inkbird meter says it's 44.4. Outdoors, the temperature's been pretty consistent in the low to mid, high teens to low 20s in Celsius. So we get into statistics on this commercial unit, and on the side it's reading, it started out at 75 and then it went to 83, 81, and then it slowly dropped through the time to at 50. And then we move over to how much water it removed, and period pints removed, period total removed. Total pints removed 469.58, and that works out to 58.7 gallons, 490 pounds, or 222 liters. And the total electrical consumption 78.07. I should add that the period electrical consumption and the total electrical consumption, these figures that I'm showing here, don't come from the calculations off the meter. I have a little plug-in unit that can record the energy consumption of any appliance that you plug into it, and that's what those readings are for, or that's how they come about. So I can find out exactly how much energy that commercial dehumidifier used based on that little gadget. I'll insert a picture here of it just so you get an idea. So the total electrical consumption per hour is 0.37 kilowatt hours. So you're looking at, say, 1/3 of a kilowatt hour. So for whatever your rate is, here it's 17.5 cents, so 5.5 cents per hour is what it costs to operate that commercial dehumidifier. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of notes, but they're kind of repetitive, so I didn't really get into it. You know, in the last couple of days it was really humid and there was some rain. Didn't really notice any kind of change with regards to humidity levels, whether it be the Inkbird or from the commercial unit's humidity reading. And so yeah, at the very bottom stop, so that's when we finished. But I kept the commercial unit running until tomorrow morning just to see if it pulls out more moisture. So what I did there was I shut off everything, including the nozzle unit was shut off and the 3 overhead fans were shut off. So the only thing that was running was just this commercial unit, and you know, just to see how much it would draw. So there's a video coming after this, and it'll show you how much moisture come out overnight. So yeah, I think this little experiment with this unit is a success. We're actually thinking about buying another one, either the same size or we might go up a size with regards to its capability to draw more moisture out. Like this unit can draw, I think, 70 pints per day at maximum saturation. So if it's like 100% humidity in a space, it can draw 70 pints per day out. The best I've seen with this was, you know, the guy was 80% moisture and it was drawing about 50 pints a day. So, and you'll find that some of these breakdown stats, let me see if I can find it here, pints removed per hour. So of course, you know, you start out 3 pints an hour, 2.5, 2.8, 3, 2.9, 2.18, 2.6, 2.6, 2.38, 4, 5. So it progressively drops to get to the bottom of 1.64. So it's doing its job. You know, it's slowly pulling all the moisture out of the air. So I'm kind of thinking that if we have 2 units, we can speed that up twice. I think maybe. I have gone over past statistics from other kiln runs when we just had the Nile and it was working optimally. And the cost to run a kiln, the Nile kiln, was, I'd say, about 50% more than what it costs to just run this commercial unit. Now, I say that 50% more, but that also includes the 3 overhead fans. I don't know how much energy they would consume. So it's a best guess. It's at the very least, this little unit is comparable to a Nile kiln, the L200 series. I think if you had a unit like that, a commercial unit that we picked up, and a heat source just to get it up to about 95, because the manufacturer says, one, don't put it in a corrosive environment. Maybe kilns might not be the best place for it, but so I'm not advising anyone else to do that. It's just what we're doing. It seems to work for this initial run. And the manufacturer also says don't operate it in environments over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're used to running your kiln hot, then this kind of unit is not for you. But we've been doing a lot of kiln runs lately, keeping the temperature at about 100, 105. We haven't gotten into the high temps simply because I didn't want to turn on the electric element. It's expensive. So we've just been letting the residual heat from the Nile unit, its compressor when it was working, and the 3 overhead fans. The heat that comes off of those motors was enough to keep our kiln heated up to like 105, 110 degrees if we want it to, because it's insulated really well. And when it gets up to 105, the exhaust fan would kick in and it would take out the extra heat, bring it back to 105, and until it warmed up again to 107, then the exhaust fan would kick in and bring it down to 105. I find that whether it's running at 105 or if it's running at 95, there's no advantage to running it at 105, like to shorten the amount of time in the kiln. So that's why we ran this at 95, this test, and it seemed to do just as well at 95. So that's where we're at. So if you got any questions or comments, you know what to do down below. Post them down there, and I'll answer the best way I can. And we'll take it from there. And the only other side thing I can add is that the company that makes this unit, they didn't give it to us or anything like that. It's not a sponsorship kind of thing. We needed something to get us out of the pickle that we were in, and so we just went on a website on the internet and purchased one. So yeah, so that's it.